a messy shot work, and then he's cleaned up. 2 left for the CTs and the defuse. Means 2 rounds for NetcodeGuides, but also means that Reliable buys next round.
Yeah, I would definitely call that a victory for Reliable. That's 2 bomb plants in a row, so that's going to be extra money afforded for this third round. I mean, we might even possibly see an op come out here. For some reason, I'm not getting the previously. You know how out in the next round it shows you the kills and the deaths next to the player names? It's not showing me that.
Yeah, GoTV will bug out every once in a while, and if you don't get that, we can just manually show the scoreboard. It shouldn't affect you, right?
No. But no op being picked up, but look at this. Plenty of grenades and AKs. They got everything that they need to have a successful T round here.
Love the discipline of a T team to make sure they stock up fully on utilities. We have already some being dispensed, mostly smokes and flashes, into bomb site B, and for the remainder of the team, they will control standard defending spots. Now, interesting to know the NetcodeGuides doesn't normally play this formation. It's a spread-looking 3-1-1, which is fine. That single support player in the elevator spot will come down to support mid. But in this day and age, I guess we can call that a day and age in Counter-Strike, you tend to see more players leaning very close to mid to be fast support. Oh, this could be bad. Hayes dropped down from his spot, and he does hear just in time some players coming up around the staircase of Cat. So it'll alert Cutler, and I think perhaps Reliable might be walking into a trap.
It looks that way. The counter terrorists are ready for him, but the good entry from Lightworker, that's going to enable him to get into the site.
Now Cutler steps through, and Abe did not get alerted by Lightworker to his death. There was a miscommunication there. He did. Whoa. Tarek just gushed somebody through the smoke, and he just barely walks away. Finesse finishes the job, then 2 taps on the KR, 7 kill. Good looking stuff. NetcodeGuides has 3, which is unfortunate, but Reliable with the continuous bomb plants probably can still buy. Yeah, just barely, if they so chose.
Just barely. Yeah, I mean, that did look good for Reliable when it first started, but then Cutler went through at the ballsy play, walked through the smoke, and just picked up 2 kills right there and just made that retake so much easier. Reliable would have had a 4 versus 4 hold, or 4 versus 3, excuse me, but yeah, Cutler just put his foot down and ended that. And then they do get the bomb plant, so they do get that extra money, and it looks like they're actually just deciding what they want to do for this round. And you saw Lightworker pick up that late AK, but no one else joined him, so maybe he had a little bit extra money compared to everybody else, and he was just trying to equalize.
No, he really didn't. He was at 3,900 or something like
wow.
that.
Yeah,
I think he just had a really bad misbuy. On top of that, he didn't pick up armor either, so this is just a big head scratcher. I think maybe this was an impulse B4-2, and then he looked at his teammates being like, oh, my bad.
My bad, guys. He thought, yeah, probably thought we got the bomb plant, we're definitely buying, and then everyone's like, all right, we're going to save, and he was watching TV or something. Not paying
It's time
attention.
to focus right now, Lightworker. So there's some merit to this. They've at least taken their bad situation and tried to leverage this into something that's workable. I'd say a single ISO pick out to mid to roll out, maybe pick up a kill through cross, even silent walking out with no smoke for the CT, which is, it's not a great idea, but there are times where it catches people off guard. Now, the reason it didn't work is because Reliable already tried the silent walkout, and JDM through the wicker basket and the double. They did the silent walkout like maybe 2 rounds before, and you only do that once per half.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to obviously be on the lookout for it once they see it once, and I mean, it looks like JDM's op is not deteriorating at all for the most part from that last round, but we'll see as the game progresses. And look at this, Robbie actually picking up an op, going to go to battle here against JDM, or, you know, just try to get that pick at mid, but we'll see what he does. Lightwork actually managed to pick up a Galil as well, along with a bunch of nades, so they're looking good at this so far.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, and then JDM just put a bunch of rounds through. Now, stepping into that doorway when at the pro level, players know where to put that crosshair. Frankly, at the DMG level, players know where to put that crosshair. You got a support player coming out. Hayes can pick up a double. Doesn't. Robbie wins an off battle over JDM, who started the round so effectively. 1 versus 2, it's a winnable situation, especially with an op. So let's see how this one pans. Do you peek,
He's
Hayes?
Flanked.
He is getting flanked. Do you peek, Hayes, and throw the round? You let your teammate pick up all the glory. Our LMS is Robbie. We'll go to him and follow him, even if it means his grim death. Nobody is coming to engage him. Look at how disciplined these players are. Oh, now Hayes is getting a little bit antsy. Now it's a one-on-one, and you don't pull out your knife. You had to know he was coming. You really did have to know that.
Yeah, obviously he didn't if he pulled out his knife. But I mean, he almost, he almost ended up saving that round. He got 2 nice op shots right there in response. Since he had the op, he probably should have led out the double doors. It must have been a spawn issue where he was in the back. But if that's the case, and JDM has his op, then maybe you don't want to try to rush out long double doors because, I mean, what just happened will happen. JDM will pick you apart. And now, I mean, they're still buying. That losing bonus is in effect, so Reliable can't support the economy as of right now.
Yeah, they can. Abe hits a good one. That's a shot from the lower B up to the catwalk. JDM's down, his weapon off the field, and of course the one less defender over at Abe. But look at NCG condensing. Their B players have moved out of bomb side B and are now closer to the rotate, closer to the mid push in case they so chose to do it. And Hayes will equalize. And as soon as he hit that shot, the number 2 man, Finesse, went back to check on bomb side B, and they spread back out now that they have equal numbers. I love the chemistry that NetcodeGuides plays with, and you mostly see it on T side because they tend to use a high volume of set pieces, but I also love how they move in concert on CT.
Yeah, you can tell they have the chemistry. I mean, they've been a team for quite a while now. They haven't really been substituting players too much except for when JDM left for that brief period of time. So yeah, they got a good working relationship, and you see that in their play, like you mentioned.
Finesse with the amazing transfer. Dual headshots. KR7 will trade. Tarek on the hunt will follow the last player. That's him. That's a headshot. Again, NetcodeGuides is still perfect.
They certainly are. They certainly are. The money situation still fine for Reliable to keep buying. You see Robbie is a little bit light. He picked up that op in the previous round, so yeah, that's going to affect his economy a little bit despite the losing bonus. And Light Worker is still a little bit light. But I mean, I feel like the strategies that Reliable is trying to use, it's weak in terms of their grenades. I mean, they keep buying the nades that they need, but they aren't using them effectively for the most part. Like when they go to B, they don't smoke CT, they try to sneak out, and they get picked off regardless. They're not really using pop flashes out mid, and they aren't really, just using other smokes effectively towards long A to move JDM off the spot with the op or push.
You're right. Reliable is very, very heavily dependent on this the ISO pick kind of play that they're going for. So when they do execute, I did notice when trying to take Cat, they did try to drop a smoke into CT and work their way up. But again,
yeah,
moving up to the elbow with a smoke underneath you at CT, that's not any different than an ISO pick. That's just an ISO pick with an additional smoke. You're right. They do need some support. I would love to see a pop flash in there somewhere. Even a high-low bait for the that mid pit, because look at Finesse and whoever else is playing there. I think it's is it Cutler that's playing at mid? They fly across that doorway trying to fight.
Yeah, they are, but look at that. The flank coming in from Robbie, he picks up a kill and a gun, and that's going to allow the bomb to get into B unless JDM picks up this amazing shot as he crosses, but no, he's already there.
He almost did. JDM saw the foot. He'll remain disciplined, I think, in case somebody wants to flick. Now, they aim so close to the door in case somebody stutters, and if they get the shoulder peek, JDM will get them on the back path, which is a very effective way to shoot. Still, there's no reason to be there because no one at this juncture wants to peek it up, especially not his. Here's the reflash and the in. Robbie had the shot on, and surprisingly, Hayes did not take the initiative to get into the bomb site. Now, one-on-one, JDM has to clutch, and he can try to stick to the defuse, but it's at the default, so if he does, he's pretty much asking for... Oh, there's the shoulder peek. Taunting him with the defuse. There's no way that he can win this, and Robbie now finishes the job. He'll lose his gun. Oh, he just barely survived at 14 HP. It's all right, so Reliable has their first round.
And that was a nice shoulder peek by Robbie. I mean, he knew the fake was happening by JDM, so he could get that op shot, and he went for the jiggle peek. So, if you do that to an opper, it's so hard for them to predict your movement and to hit you. They'll usually end up firing, thinking you're going to peek further, and then you basically kind of have them screwed for the most part. So, yeah, that works very well, and you saw it worked out perfectly for Reliable, and now they're finally on the board. I mean, they got to be careful now because if they lose this round, they might have to save. Well, they probably will have to save. They might be able to buy, do a force. But, I mean, when you're losing by this much and then you get around and then you lose your losing bonus and you get set back to 0, I mean, and then you don't pick up the next round, then you're just back in a hole and the enemy team is going to pick up even more rounds on you.
That's right. Now, I think we siloed off here. NetcodeGuides has split into a 2-2-1. The variety that you don't see, it's a 2-2-1 leaning the other way toward B. A single down at long, 2 to support. And I want to go to the number 3 man because above him should be a cat player. So it's not a true 2-2-1. It's more like a 1-2-2. It's just very, very far apart. They're banking that Reliable is heading toward B this round. I don't know what indication there is that that's going to happen. They've thrown once now, and it's easy to sell that somebody's going to wrap the B. And in fact, Lightworker is doing that. There's the 1-1 trade, and the response, Lightworker has no idea where Cutler was. Sprayed out into open space, lost the battle, and how did you do that, Tarek?
I'm not sure. I saw JDM opt through the smoke as well, so they're pulling out some amazing stuff. But, I mean, the setup was justified. Reliable, for the most part, has been showing heavy aggression towards mid most of this game. I mean, I think they've only hit long once or twice, and I think one of those was maybe pistol, so...
they did run into the JDM op machine.
Yeah, that was one of those that I was counting. The majority of their play, though, has been focused on mid. And I think, you know, NetcodeGuides realizes that they're focusing on, you know, trying to go out mid and then to B for the most part. So we'll play the 2-1-2, or the 1-2, 1-2-2, like you said.
That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I mean, it's working out for me. You saw that strat just blew up in their face, and like I said, they had to go with the force buy, so they're going to be broke after this if they don't get this round.
So Abe does a double peek, and though that normally gets you killed on the pros, he walks out with 14 HP, 1-1 on the trade. Robbie's gone, and so is Finesse just throws a deep nade to top right. He's going to get a kill, and he instead hits Markladon. So we've done some damage here. The T's haven't really said, oh no. Abe had to have known that was coming. Here's another attempt to get this kill. They're chasing down Tarek, who consistently head peeks. I think gets the kill on Lightworker before getting a headshot, through the bricks. KR7 drops him as 3 versus 2, but it feels like Reliable's already out of this purely because of how little HP is left total.
Yeah, I mean, KR7 has the op, so it doesn't matter too much, especially when you pick up JDM, who was guarding you. They just got to... If they could pick up the FNS right here really quickly, then they should be in a good position. But he's
CG seems to be jockeying for a late retake when Hazed is ready for it. He's going to sprint all the way down to long. We have a single player spotting the platform. He knows that nobody's crossed over, so they're safe for that player, Hazed, to run back around to long, and the retake starts now. For the CTs, they have a single flash left after the first one. Finesse may not throw it. Hayes may not throw it. May not matter. There's an op shot missed. Hayes one-on-one with Markladon in the sight behind the 2 box. Here's the pump defuse, comes back out, hits the shot. Reliable has 2.
Nice hold. I mean, and you know, Finesse was able to stay alive. He was in danger of getting killed right there because he was going for that aggressive peek, and Cutler was like, no, just wait for me to get there. And they went for the 2-man take, and it just failed. They couldn't do it, and it was a good hold by Reliable, and that's really what they needed because, like I said, they would have been broke, but now they're still in it in terms of economy, and KR7 holding that off from the previous round. Well, actually, they picked it up for him again, but and if you see, Netcode is actually on a save, so this is Reliable's time to actually get back into this game and close this deficit.
It's time. We've smoked out B, so we think, well, at least NetcodeGuides has to entertain the idea that there's a slow walk into B. On an eco round, they'll stack that way, but as they see the firepower coming through mid, they'll move back across, trying to hit a long-distance CZ shot. Doesn't really work out. It just means that 2 more players have yet to push and make that mistake, and Robbie's a bit surprised that he probably picked up that kill. He looked around, saw JDM already dead. Cutler's the last one alive. He's got a deagle, and I don't think he's got a serious plan as to what to do right now. I wonder this, within your economy, I guess it's contextual, but within your economy, do you save a deagle? Because they're kind of expensive.
I mean, it is 800, but it's not really getting you that much for the next round. It's like you got a deagle, but you still need to buy. So, I mean, just based on the situation of how many T's were alive, I think in that respect, you go for the save.
Like little philosophical questions that we've never answered since the dawn of Counter-Strike time. Why did we buy an MP5? Is there a reason to ever buy an SMG in competitive play? There's so many little things. Was the Galil edition really ever necessary? I don't know. Back to this. 7-50. 3-2 split for the CT defense, and we have a single player dropping back as a safety position to take up the elevator and a spotter. Deep nade. Finesse picks up a kill. It looks like it was at the back of bomb site B tunnels. So Markladon's gone. And I'll point this out right now. Reliable has the 3 rounds. They don't have an economy. Every round they're getting taxed, and by taxed I mean killed. You can see their death in the columns, 9, 8, 9, 9, 9. There's no economy being built up. Every round for Reliable is scraping fingernails, trying to hold on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and like I said, you know, when they pick up the 2 rounds in a row, you would think that would rebuild their economy a little bit, but like you said, I mean, they're losing so many men to get these wins that it's just not working out, so almost every round they're potentially facing another save. So they got to keep the win train going. Otherwise, they're going to just be looking back into trouble again.
Robbie seems to know the position of the pit player. He'll throw a nade and then drop out. We have KR7 looking to be a single point. Again, Clay, I think when you pointed it out, it became even more pronounced to me. It became even more pronounced to the audience. Reliable's entire offense is single pick ISO, and it's not even supported ISO. It's a true one guy solo pick. It's not really giving the best results. Every round that Reliable has to win, it comes down to one guy trying to make a huge play, which doesn't happen, by the way, because the nade finishes him off. It's untenable. It's unsustainable.
Yeah, I mean, you might pick up a round here and there just because your guys happen to out aim the other player that round, and you might get a good pick, and then you could build a round or two. But when it comes to consistency, it's not really going to net you that much, especially against a team like Netcode, who they have great aim as well, but then they have the fundamentals, working together as a team better. Using those utility nades, pop flashes to help themselves out. And it just makes it that easier.
Like maybe pop flashes would be great. That would be an advanced tactic to try. We have a split on B, by the way. We'll talk about this later in a second. Finesse picks up an AK, retreats through the smoke, makes it out alive with 13 HP, and Hayes gets cut off by the Lurker. That's KR7. So down to a 3 versus 3. We'll have a free bomb plant. The retake starts now for the CTs, and they are wielding just one flashbang. A smoke grenade, which may or may not be useful, but one flashbang. By the way, also a bolt action weapon. That's a op. Here's the flash, and the retake has to be right now. Op through the window. We have the first step out. Robbie wins the battle, has a double kill, and KR7 joins. That's 4 rounds for Reliable. So back to the topic. It doesn't even have to be a flashbang. Keep it as simple as possible. If you think about it, you're losing your battles one by one by one by one. Make the CTs engage you from different perspectives. If you push from catwalk, leverage that by having somebody waiting at long to make sure that they stay honest instead of over-rotating.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I mean, we saw right there, Reliable changed up what they were doing a little bit, attack A a little bit more, and that actually changed Netcode's style of play to focus more on A, and then they were able to hit the mid to B very easily, and that round worked out very well for them. I mean, they had 3 people left alive inside for a 3v3, and then they held on to it perfectly, and they're about to get another one due to this eco. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying,
And truthfully, Reliable's strats, I bet they work all the time because they're so much better than everyone else. But when they get to the top 4, the top 5 teams, suddenly everything that's always worked for them, they bully the teams they scrim around, they bully all the pugs that they play around, I'm sure. And then they realize, oh, they can outshoot us. Then your ISO pick, by the way, that's the #1 reason that's how you destroy ISO picks. Shoot better than the other team.
Exactly.
There's no game planning for it. If Freiburg's coming for you and he's excellent at entries if you are new to Counter-Strike, then there's not a whole lot you can do about it. By the way, since we're back on topic, 2 versus 3. There's the bomb plant at the top of the platform. We have 1 at the ramp, 1 heading to the goose. Nice, stays on the platform, and then a single player down at pit. It's a very strong hold, and this has very few gaps in defense. I don't see a feasible way to retake here.
Yeah, I don't either. Even if they picked up those 2 kills onto the guys at the site, you still have KR7 down in the pit with the op just watching for that defuse. So, I mean, Reliable was just in a really good spot right there. And you see Cutler, he backs out, he saves the op because their economy as well has been struggling due to Reliable picking up rounds, and they're going to be saving coming up here. So we'll have Cutler with the op, and then it's going to be a bunch of pistols. But, I mean, Reliable, started out struggling, but, I mean, they're doing a good job of, even if their strategy isn't sound in terms of working as a team and only working off ISO picks, I mean it's starting to come together a little bit for them.
Yeah, as critical as we have been, Dust 2 is the one map that will reward you for that kind of play. So, I guess we have our foot in mouth on other maps that would seriously probably make that would be irreparable sort of damage. Mm-hmm. All right, so for the T's, a speed play, it looks like. Fast up the catwalk, and NetcodeGuides is slow to react. I don't think they've seen this recently, so they move a little bit sluggishly. And unfortunately, Reliable really didn't take advantage. They had the chance to move up over the top to the elbow above the CT, and I don't think Hayes would have been ready, especially with the FAMAS trying to hit those headshots.
I think they wanted to see if the rotator was going to come out mid and try to pick him up with their quick presence, but Cutler didn't rotate quick enough. and it happened to work out for him.
Yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate thing for Reliable. They were so sure that NetcodeGuides was going to be rotating early, but NetcodeGuides, to be honest, was just out of position early on.
Yeah.
So we'll creep back and we'll try bomb side B this time. Surely there's going to be a wrap smoke through to CT. They'll try it again, and then they'll press for a 3-2 split. Hayes steps out to mid, wins a battle against Robbie. The 3-2 is still viable here because you do siphon off parts of the map. Now, it just happens to be that this is just a 3-1 lurk entry. We have the lurk Marklidon landing his shot, and JDM now hunts. There's the kill, 2 versus 2. A winnable situation for Reliable and a round that they certainly need if they want to make this half look fairly even. Tarek's in, and he's about to bait an off shot. He sees an elbow, and he even shot faster than the offer. It just matters that KR7 hits the actual shot and drops him. So JDM versus 2. And in a round, in a mere moment, Reliable can look like they've put together a very good half, unless JDM does something absolutely absurd. He doesn't. Lightworker cleans that up. There's 6 rounds right there.
Looking very good. I mean, if they pick up this next one, then even better. You know, 8-7 is very viable, and it's going to be another save from Netcode because they forced on that one. I said in the previous round, you know, they didn't really have the economy to buy, but they decided to force regardless, and we're seeing that again, obviously, because it's the last round. So 2 FAMASes, 2 CZs, and a 5-7. And only three sets of armor to go around. So, yeah, I mean, Netcode is in danger of...
What? Anyway, would you like to finish that thought?
I don't even remember what I was saying.
Sometimes Counter-Strike just does funny things, and the players in Counter-Strike do jaw-dropping things. 3 versus 3. Finesse, Hayes, Tarek face off against Lightworker, Robbie, KR7, and a lot of time left on the clock. There's a minute 10, and some weapons recovered from the CTs, or by the CTs, excuse me. There's a surefire kill. Or not. Finesse uncharacteristically completely loses track of his AK at the very end of that burst. He loses it. The T's are in. Got a free bomb plant opportunity. 2 men on the retake fighting out at mid, and Robbie... Oh, no. Don't throw the panic nade. This is not...
Why did he even push out? They had
This is not Gold Nova 2. This is not why I... Anyway, KR7 to save his team. And he's been good. He's been very, very good. He knows that CT's in the site. Tarek's inside the site with 13 HP. It's going to be very hard to execute this defuse, especially given the fact that you'll be exposed. There's the flank. KR7 cleans up where his teammates had made mistakes. The half ends very even, 8-7. You're watching CEVO TV. I'm Cotton. My partner is Klops. Thanks for joining us in part 1 of a 3-game evening. What do you think? That half was a little bit weird, just a little bit quirky.
Yeah, I mean, it started out just so much in favor of NetcodeGuides. It's one of those weird scenarios where, you know, the team you expect to do better does start out doing very well, and then they kind of lose their momentum, and the other team starts just getting warmed up, hitting their shots, and they can swing it to an 8-7, and the game is close once again. So, I mean, this pistol round coming up is going to be very important for these guys.
It's true. Let's get everyone readied up and get a move on. 3 left. Nope, 4 left before the full ready up. I think we'll be good to go. So your prediction, I think it's going to be a little bit off.
I think so too. Whoa. Yeah, I didn't honestly expect Reliable to put up those 7 rounds on the end of the half, especially once we saw what was going on. You know, we saw the 3. I thought maybe they'd get 4, 5 max, but yeah, they managed to keep it going. Just keep packing them on slowly but surely.
I'm pretty impressed. You know, despite how critical we were with Reliable, and truthfully, they didn't play a very beautiful game. They just played a you know, barely efficient game. I'm impressed with their fortitude, because what they didn't do in terms of style points and finesse, they made up for in grit, individual plays, and just a lot of sheer determination.
Yeah, definitely.
That leaves, with KR7 ready, that leaves just 2 players left, Lightworker and JDM. Now just JDM, and I think it was right to bring back JDM. He was really good. I know his scoreline says 16 and 11, but for a player who is playing long against a team that never went to long, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it seemed like he didn't really have any rust issues. He was holding his shots down perfectly fine and not really missing a beat, so he did great, despite being off the team for for such a bit of time. I mean, he is bottom fragging, but that's with 16 kills. And I think it's because he didn't really see as much action as anybody else.
I mean, you try to top frag when you're rotating across a map and opping close range every single time.
Yeah.
That to me is impressive. By the way, catch me up on your favorite moments of the European games in the ESL. I just simply didn't have enough time to watch anything other than the Americans.
Oh, well, if you saw the C9 versus Stig game on Mirage, that Hiko clutch obviously was amazing. But one of the things
ice cream.
Huh? Yeah, one
of
the things I think that was kind of overshined by that was Dupree's triple kill. It was like a 3-man spray transfer in a 180, and I was just like, my jaw dropped at that. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How do you even do that? I could barely spray one person down, you know?
Yeah, if that. We just like fire 30 shots into thin air and we complain about the tick rate and the lag and the registry.
You did a 180 controlling the spray and put it onto 2 more people. I was like, get out of here.
And we're back. The second half starts now. Thank you all for joining us. I know, I see your messages. We've already accounted for the inventory and the giveaways. That's coming up soon, just not tonight. Don't you worry. For the pistol round, 3 armors, a flashbang and a full complement of the smoke flash nade, or full as far as pistol rounds go. Lots of Glocks for the T's, and for the CTs, a lot of oh my god, 1 tapped. Abe hits 1, then Markledon. These are all real good looking. And another one, Tarek's down. This is a clinic on how you use a USB close range, and there's finally the response from the CTs, the T's. 2 kills, 1 for Finesse and 1 for Hazed. It's just a matter of, oh.
Wow. Markledon, just a headshot generator with that USPS. Wow.
Good God.
I gotta say, Netcode might be a little worried right now. I mean, like I said, that pistol round was going to be important, and they pick it up. So yeah, they should be able to pick up the next 2. Obviously, we do see it goes quite a bit now with the addition of the CZ, so you can't always count that out. But I mean, you know, usually you're set up as long as you play it correctly with those rifles to pick up the anti-eco.
Well, they are. Lots of CZs for NetcodeGuides. Not a whole lot of respect. Look at the purchases here. You got armor on the bomb carrier, and Tarek for that matter. I guess it's justified. I should just shut my mouth. It worked. It worked, but they're not going to recover that gun, so that doesn't necessarily get them too far ahead in the game. Here's the P90 flank, and why not? Because this gun has to be the best ever created. Rob surely has 60 more bullets to go before he reloads. Lightworker drops Tarek for the FAMAs. That's 2 left for the T's. Okay, so you sort of mortgaged the future a little bit. You bought armor. 2 of your guys didn't, but of course we all understand that JDM's saving up for an op. Okay, fine, you've got some rounds to work with, but I don't really see why you do the armor buy here for CZs, because you're fighting long range on those 2.
Yeah, but I mean, it's because they could still buy on the 4th round regardless, usually, so that's why they do it. But yeah, you're right, JDM didn't do it because he's obviously saving for that op, and since they didn't get any money that round because they only got 1 kill, you know, no bonus to their economy. That op isn't going to be coming on the 3rd round, or no buy round on the 3rd round regardless. So yeah, I mean, it is expensive, and they're still going with the CZs, just not with the armor this time.
Mid-control attempt for NetcodeGuides. Nice bomb person also drops the bomb right inside of the doorways, which is recovered by Hazed. These will spread back out to something that resembles a default. That's sort of becoming a porous default. CZs and a Deagle on the field, and there's been no success anywhere for the T's this round, and they've been flanked and abused. As Reliable Gaming is showing how aggressive they want to play on these anti-ecos. JDM's surely about to die, and he's going to be getting flanked from so many CTs. It's not even fun. Markledon hits it. That's 10 rounds for Reliable. NetcodeGuides, well, they could buy on this round, but will they?
It's the 4th round, so they should. Yeah. I would be surprised if they didn't, and JDM does go for that op, so he's going to be buying light, no head armor, which is going to be pretty dramatic against the M4s, and no grenades on him, so he's going to be 100% relying on that op. And
watch this fast cap. The number 9 man's already up, and I don't know if he's going to find anybody, but the important part is if he doesn't, he can relay information. Now the T's on on the other side of the wall at long, if they're making a lot of noise, he will be able to spot and hear those flashbangs, call the rotate back, and the number 8 man on the platform will be prepared. Right now, NetcodeGuides is split up for a split A, and they'll turn that into a 4-man bunch pick or a bunch take on A. We've got a single lurk of the number 5-man Cutler. I like this play, mainly because it seems like they've gathered enough information that Reliable's not playing strong on long. That's actually that's very important to exploit if the CTs don't want to play there.
I feel like if you don't have anyone all, like close up at long though, that kind of just it's a dead giveaway that you have an op on the platform.
Could be true, but it doesn't necessarily matter because you got to. If you bring a JDM to the party, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, you got an op on the platform. We got to do.
Yeah, Finesse hits the other one. That's Robbie. A second defender down at A. You've got to wait for the rotates. And, of course, Reliable knows that they're being lurked. You just got to figure out where the lurk is. That's the big deal. Markledon hits a nice one. Tarek is gone. And if he could have just controlled his M4 instead of moving too early, he would have had 2. Instead, the retake is just seemingly as hard as it was before. One lurk is good. Then another one. Lightworker finally ends Cutler's rampage, and he'll probably save from this point on.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Cutler was gonna miss his kills right there, because he just watched them walk onto catwalk, and I thought they were gonna go and just do some damage, try to retake the site, but they managed to turn around. I think they heard him step, and he managed to pick up those 2 kills. So it was a good job by him, and just good round all around by NetcodeGuides besides getting that entry. And if Lightworker could pick up that op, that would be huge.
Doesn't, and he also gives away his position. Not enough time left at the end of the round for him to engage. 9-10 is your current score line. The T's buy again. The CT's now thinking about it. They're going to go with scouts. Is this real life?
Wouldn't be the first time I've seen scouts getting picked up for the Ecos like CZs nowadays, but yeah, I don't know if I like it.
It's a matter of where Robbie plays, right? It has to make sense, and since he's the number 9 man, I'll check. He's going for a jump scout shot in lower B. I just cannot see how this purchase is justified. And now that he got naded, it just gets a little bit more painful to think about. We got a single smoke for the cutoff at CT. It looks like NetcodeGuides will press it. Tarek steps out the door at least to check. Will he go back to Cat and join his teammates, or does he become the new de facto lurk? That's an interesting concept.
Altering their strat. They're gonna head to B.
This is a revert. It's a cat take with the CT smoke lurk against the Humvee. I really like it. Interesting concept. They show the play. Tarek steps through. He even makes the noise with his feet, and they call the rap to B, and he becomes a bait and or lurk. It's either way. It's a 2-way go.
It worked out well for him because he obviously got those 2 kills on the guys coming out of B. But yeah, it was nice. And I saw Netcode actually run back towards Cat like they were going to jump off, but I guess that was just a sound bait as well to make it seem like they were committing to that mid to B, and that worked out very nicely for him.
I'd like to see that again. I can promise you that was a purposeful play. Tarek stepped in with a lot of confidence, knowing that was his assignment.
No, it definitely looked like that was the plan, to do a mid to B fake and then go back up on Cat.
Like it. This time they'll use the game. They'll play out the game theory. They have the exact same thing set up, but they're going to do a silent walkout. Now the game's on top of games. Reliable is going to get jerked around here because they got caught last time. Will they be ready this time? Kind of Lightworker at least actually peeks in this situation to make absolutely certain what was going on. Tarek comes back around looking for that last player inside the side. He is at that back corner. He hits the shot. It's down to a 3-on-3. JDM will plant. Retake's coming from a long ways away, Clay. Look at the number 5 man. Yep.
Yep. It's like bowling. I'm down.
Cutler, I promise you, before he set his feet while he was falling in midair, he was smiling while falling.
Oh yeah. You see 2 CTs not looking towards you, and you're just thinking, oh yeah, these are going to be some headshots.
Actually, what you're thinking is, don't shoot too early. Don't mess this up. It's so easy to mess that up. NetcodeGuides retakes the lead. They're at 11. So Reliable's 10.
Yeah, Reliable picks up the first 3 rounds, and then it stops from there. I mean, that buy round, they didn't get it, and we saw another attempt, and now Reliable's back into the saving position. So, NetcodeGuides, I'm sure they're aware of this. I'm sure they're keeping track of the economy, and they should know that these guys are going to be saving. So they got to be careful, because you look at this 3-man CZ stack at middle.
Yeah. We're gonna get some results here in just a second. Lightworker steps out and waits right at that. Oh, Cutler sees his teammate, blows him away. Lightworker must be so surprised. You can't just look at that and think that you had an automatic kill. That's just heartbreaking. That's the that is the pick up your keyboard and throw it across the room sort of death. Like, oh my god, I would be so mad.
Slam your headphones on the ground and then you pick them up and you're like, oh, I shouldn't.
I'm back. Oh, my headphones. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
two left for the CPs. And now just one. Robbie gets shot in the shins. Apparently that's enough to kill him. KR7 with the AK-47 left in the pit. And I mean, that bomb's going to blow up in time for someone to still get to him. So he may have to fight right now. We're on him, and Hayes is about to step out. Here's the attempt. Oh, God. And he still loses the AK. That's tragedy. 12 to 10.
It certainly is. And look at the economy right now for NetcodeGuides. We actually have the graphic back where it's showing the economy at the start. I mean, 2 people above 10K, Hayes at 7, Cutler at 9.8. I mean, they're looking great. FNS, apparently, he's been dying the most this half because he's at like 1,400 after that buy. But no big deal when everybody else on your team is doing so well. Yeah,
you've got everything like hand in basket. I can't believe that I feel so confident in this netcode guide pulling away at this point because the scoreline reads 12 to 10, but the economy just suggests that netcode guides has some real big leeway to play with.
I wouldn't say real. Well, yeah, in terms of economy they do, but you know, we saw Reliable once they started getting momentum going in the first half. Netcode couldn't stop him, so you don't want that to happen. You don't want Reliable to pick up a round or 2, and then they're feeling confident again in themselves.
It's certainly true. We're at a default here for netcode guides: 2 to control mid, 1 to scout the catwalk and maybe hit a solo pick if he so chooses. A support player at the lower B in case they need to slide out and trade, and of course 1 to protect the push inside of the tunnels. Tarek gets the first shot of the round, or the first kill of the round, and Robbie is now dead. Now, Lightworker's position is clearly a support, and he wanted to be able to trade out A, but he was way too far away to be able to do that, so that was not necessarily thought out entirely well. KR7 drops Hayes.
He was trying to hide in that scaffolding position, which I completely dislike because even if they come out and you get 1 kill, you're pretty much stuck up there, and you're just a sitting duck for the enemy team. So I hate that spot, and you saw he was delayed in helping his teammate right there, and NetcodeGuides easily went mid to B, no problem.
Yeah, it makes sense if that player, that close player who died early on, was still alive, and Abe, if that's Abe by the way that I was talking about, if he was at the close corner and still able to fight, then scaffolding makes sense. But I can't really see why that was the decision for this particular case.
Yep. Another scenario where another reliable man, last man standing, is trying to save his gun. And it looks like he's been sneaky enough. He'll actually escape with his life on this one.
Does Markledon get a little bit too greedy and peek? No, he doesn't. 13 to 10. NetcodeGuides is closing in on that tie point, and their economy is beginning to build. A 13, 10, 13. We got FNS down at the low point of 4-2, but his teammates can buy him, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Cutler was at 9, now he's at 13-6, so they are building it up, and it's getting, I mean, just further and further away from Reliable being able to take this round. They absolutely must win this round.
It's odd because we, as a community, have been of the opinion that Dust 2 is slowly becoming a CT-sided map, and we have that opinion, but Reliable, well, their T side started to make more and more sense, and their CT side is a little bit weaker than I anticipated.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, maybe that's why they picked it first, because they wanted to just get those rounds over with and you know, be able to get a good go on the T side and set precedence. But
He's gonna have an entire battle through smoke, and nobody sees the other team. Cutler does get hit and dropped. Here's the bomb plant for long. They do have a player down at the pit should they want to keep him down there. Note the number 4 man's really close up at the cross by the car, not dropping back because he doesn't really need to be back with another player down at long. This is probably the best kind of vice grip hold on long. There's no way to get back in.
Yeah, you got someone covering long, you got someone covering the catwalk, and I mean, wherever you're going, you're making resistance early and not into the site. So that's going to eat up a lot of your time on the retake regardless. So it's like by the time you get to the bomb, you can't defuse it anyways. So it is a great hold.
JDM flashes his teammate out. Tarek takes advantage of his hospitality. Robbie's the last one to die that round, with Abe still alive. 14-10, NetcodeGuides is one away from the tie point.
Yeah, and I don't like saying it this early, but I gotta say that's gonna be the game because this is gonna be another force buy from Reliable. It's gonna be weak. You saw Mark Ladon was able to save that gun from the last round, or was that Abe? Either one. One of them was able to save, but it's just not going to be enough. I mean, you see 2 pistols on the field of Famas and a lot of head armor missing, which isn't that big of a deal anyways for CTs. But still, just with the momentum that NetcodeGuides has built up and the economy lead that they built, I don't know if they could take this.
Well, on a total postscript, unrelated footnote, your 16-10 press looks pretty good again.
It does.
KR7 tries to hit a difficult shot. It's a very, very tough one to hit that scalping shot over the top of that rock of the window. He doesn't. He loses. Robbie's the last one up, and there's a very good chance that the tie point gets surrendered right now. He'll try to flash himself back in. It's not going to be terribly effective. And, oh, it's a smoke. Interesting. Our last player alive, Robbie. He's in, and he's right next to anyway. Shot in the back. Cutler wins. They had a little bit of lag right there, but we know exactly what happened. 15-10.
Yep. And, I mean, Reliable at this point has the losing bonus, so they can, get a bye going for this last round. But either way, I mean, same story going on. Look at the economy of NetcodeGuides. Everybody above 10K hazed. He just picked up an option. He's at 6. There's a great opening frag on KR7. He's wielding that up for Reliable and needed to be a big playmaker for him.
Okay, so earlier we had X-ray off. I see that you fixed that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I got those messages late, and people were sending me things, and clearly I didn't relay that to you. I was a little bit afraid that we were in some deep water there. So NetcodeGuides looks to wrap this one up. They've hit that last shot on Abe. That leaves Lightworker to clutch versus four players who still have their full accoutrement of nades. They have an op, 3 AKs. It's going to take something miraculous, but it looks like they've already written off their teammates. A Lightworker we do follow for at least the honorable thing to do, and he can try to go full arcade mode here. He gets 1. That looks pretty good. And the next, if he just shoots the 1 box and hits a headshot, that would be great. He'll flash himself back in, and a shot and does a huge cartwheel to end the game. 16-10, NetcodeGuides wins it, though it wasn't nearly as convincing until the very end when NetcodeGuides finally seemed to have put it all together. You're watching CEVO TV. I'm Cotton. My partner is Klops.